and welcome to EDU. I'm Eric DeRise, and I am creating this video so that I can talk to you a little bit about this big scandal where 50 wealthy and celebrity parents were arrested along with some school officials for basically influencing applicants' acceptances into universities fraudulently. So basically the FBI and federal prosecutors in Boston have charged 50 people and 13 have been indicted. And the scheme worked to help potential students cheat on college entrance exams or pose as recruited athletes to get admitted to high-profile universities with bribes of up to $6 million. The scheme allegedly facilitated admittance for some students as athletes regardless of their physical ability. Parents allegedly paid a California man a predetermined amount which he would then steer to either an SAT or an ACT administrator or a college athletic coach. So this is interesting because, you know, when you first heard about this story, it sounded like the universities were up to no good, and that wealthy and celebrity parents were able to get their kids into a school, through, paying big fees. But it turns out that that's not exactly what's going on here. I mean, yes, wealthy and celebrity parents are involved in this process, according to some of the articles that I'm finding on the internet. But this is really not a question of illegal admissions into a university. In other words, according to the FBI and several sources, the universities themselves had no idea that this was going on. Although, according to the article that I'm reading right now, it has been going on since 2011. And it's not to say that the universities are completely innocent in this situation, because if you look at the people involved, it does involve some college coaches of different sports. This is interesting, though. Actors Felicity Huffman of Desperate Housewives fame and Full House's Lori Loughlin were both charged in the scheme. So I wonder how much they actually knew, though. You know, that's really something to think about. Huffman is in federal custody after being arrested at her home without incident, according to Andrew Blankenstein. Among coaches indicted are Stanford's sailing coach John Vandemore, former Yale women's soccer coach Rudy Meredith, former Georgetown tennis coach Jordy Ernst, current Texas men's tennis coach Michael Center, and current UCLA men's soccer coach Jorge Salcedo. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. So a lot of coaches are involved in this whole thing. And so again, it's not that the universities are completely clean, but it's not what it sounded like in the very beginning, which it sounded like admissions advisors and counselors were taking money under the table to accept wealthy and celebrity children into these programs, or I should say the children of wealthy people and celebrities. 4 USC athletics staff members were also charged, including the Trojans' former women's soccer coach, head coach Ali Korshahayan. I'm not even going to try to correct myself on that one. Former women's soccer assistant coach Laura Janke and current USC senior associate athletic director Donna Heinel and water polo coach Jovan Valvik. Mark Riddle, the director of college entrance exam preparation at IMG Academy, a private college preparatory school and sports academy in Bradenton, Florida. That's really close to where I live. That's about an hour's drive. I mean, that's amazingly close. Has been charged with conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud alongside charges of conspiracy to commit money laundering. This is crazy. So basically, what the FBI is accusing some of the people of is to bribe college entrance exam administrators to facilitate cheating on college entrance exams. Okay, so that's where this comes into play. It's through the entrance exams and also ACT and SAT to bribe varsity coaches and administrators at elite universities to designate certain applicants as recruited athletes or as other favored candidates, thereby facilitating the applicant's admission to those universities, and to use the facade of a charitable organization to conceal the nature and source of the bribe payments. The scheme, which was allegedly running from, okay, I already said that, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But it's interesting, some of the people they were passing off, some of the students, as athletes that should be accepted because of their athletic prowess. A prospective student was made a long snapper. I don't know what that is, despite weighing just 145 pounds. Okay, I'm assuming that that's football position, the guy who snaps the ball. You don't want anybody on a college football team who only weighs 145 pounds. They would get killed. Other students' athletic histories were similarly falsely described for the purpose of admission. Per court documents, there is no indication that the schools were directly involved in wrongdoing. That's according to this particular article that I've been analyzing for the purpose of this video. So let's just look at this for a second and break it down in more layman terms, because when we look at how people get into college and what it's all about, we're always looking at the politics involved, right? Because especially when it comes to these Ivy League schools and graduate school, we're not just looking at the kind of situation where you pay a fee and maybe you take a simple test that just proves that you're not an idiot, or you submit your your transcripts and they show you have a certain GPA, those kinds of things. There are also situations where more than that can happen. For example, if a wealthy parent donates a bunch of money to a university, they're more likely to get their kid into that school. And it's kind of understandable, but they still have to have the documentation that can back up their ability to get through that program and graduate from that program. Otherwise, they couldn't justify getting them into that program. The school could lose its accreditation, and the program that the student is going into could also lose its accreditation. And when that kind of thing happens, that can kill a school or a degree program. Without your accreditation, your program is worthless, even if it is Harvard or USC. So those are factors to keep in mind when it comes to that kind of thing. There are situations also where, say it's a graduate medical program, and that program has clinical sites at different hospitals or clinics, that sort of thing. And they really want to get this clinical site set up at this one hospital, and it turns out that the son or daughter of the manager of that hospital or of the owner of that hospital is applying to your program, and you really want to get a clinical site. Well, you're probably going to be more likely to invite them for an interview after they've done all the proper paperwork. They've submitted their 3 letters of recommendation. They've got the qualifying GPA. If the program requires an MCAT score or a GRE test report, they've submitted that. And so they've done all their due diligence. They've done everything that they're required to do. And then it turns out that, hey, their mother or father happens to manage this one clinical site. yeah, they probably are more likely to get into the program. But not only is that not illegal, but it's not really provable. Because what if that child who's applying for that program really is a great applicant? What if they meet all the requirements and during their interview they gave a great interview? Are you going to deny them because of that relationship? So it's a situation where you can't really attribute one result to a relationship, and so you can't really prove that something unethical happened there. But when you've got people paying money on both ends of the situation, the key holder and the gatekeeper, when you're paying both of them to make sure that your kid gets a passing score or a great score on a pre-college test that will enable them to apply to most colleges, and you're getting coaches to accept them into a sports program based on false athletic ability, or you're having that whoever's conducting the college exams at the college falsify the results. That's directly attributable to that relationship, and that's when it's clear that fraud happened. And I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of any of these people. I'm glad they got caught. If any of them are innocent, I hope that's proven. But it really is not fair to the applicants who really want to get into those programs, who have the ability but don't necessarily have the funds to pay test takers, or however you want to put it. If they're not wealthy, if they are living in a disparaged environment, but they have the academic ability, it's not fair to them. So this kind of thing, it is a scandal and it is shocking, but these people should be caught, and this kind of thing should be stopped. And that's one of the reasons that colleges and universities have accreditation. It's so that all of these processes can be examined to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen, and that we create as even a playing field as possible for the applicants of these degree programs. But the one thing you really have to make sure of, and this is essential, is that before you accept somebody into a program, they have proven through the minimum requirements that they are likely to graduate from that program. If you accept a bunch of people who are not meeting those minimum requirements and you accept them into that program just because you want to give them a chance, you are setting them up for failure and you're not doing them any favors. So you have to make sure that they meet the minimum requirements which establish that they are likely to graduate from that program. I could go on this all day, so I'm going to stop. If you enjoyed this conversation, please click on the like button. Also, please leave your comments below. I want to know what you think of this situation. I hope I made things a little clearer for you. Okay? And if you disagree with me, go ahead, disagree. But present a solid argument. Tell me why. Okay? Let's get the conversation going. And if you like these conversations, subscribe. Click on the subscribe button. Okay? All right. Until the next video, take care.